So what is actually the best leg day to follow in order to double the size of your glutes this year? The best glute workouts on the planet focus in on 3 main things that I'm going to cover in this video. Walk you through my full leg day workout to grow my glutes the most scientific and efficient way. The best glute workouts focus in on 3 main things. The first is mechanical tension. What this means is you need to make sure that your muscles have constant stimulus on them. So think about if your reps are too fast and they're uncontrolled, you are not keeping constant tension on the muscle. Second is form. Are you actually targeting your glutes, or do you feel your quads and hamstrings taking over in every single glute exercise? In order to feel your glutes properly so you can actually grow them, you need to know how to bias them and cue them in every single movement. And volume. This is the total amount of work you do on your glutes every single week in the gym. If you do too much or do too little, you are going to be leaving gains on the table. I see so many women as a coach of 6 years in the gym doing too many exercises, which is known as junk volume. If you're doing too many sets, too many reps, or too many exercises, you are just fatiguing your muscle instead of actually building them up. There is a big difference between training for fatigue versus training to failure. You want to make sure you're always training to failure in the gym, or close to failure. I would say within 2 to 4 reps of failure. This is going to allow you to yield the most glute gains in your training. Okay, so the exercise I almost always start with is the Nordic curl machine. I know a lot of gyms don't have this, so you can do a seated or a lying leg curl, and that's perfectly fine. So one of the easiest ways to make sure you're going into your workout with your joints and everything lubricated and warm is training your hamstrings first. So next glute day, add in a hamstring exercise before you go into everything else, and you're gonna notice how much of a game changer that is. Now our second exercise is going to be a Smith Machine Reverse Lunge, but with a twist. So many people just come over to the Smith Machine and come under it and just step back like this, bouncing off the back leg and driving back up. Now that's okay if you're trying to be athletic, but if you're trying to actually build your glutes, you need to focus in on tension. So how I like to do them instead is same setup, come under the bar, tuck yourself in, unrack. Now, when you're on the Smith machine, you technically want to put your foot slightly in front of the barbell. Then from here, I have a slight bend in my front foot. And instead of just driving my toes back, I'm going to drive my knee back and down to the floor. Now, as I'm coming down, I'm going to slightly hinge my torso forward to bias more of my glutes. You're really going to resist on the way down, tap that knee, then toe, and then slowly drive back up. So you don't need crazy weight for this either, because you're gonna get a really, really good stretch and you're gonna be able to keep constant tension on your glutes. So I like to start with just the bar here, and then I'll add maybe like 2.5, 5 pounds each side. You're really gonna be stabilizing with that one leg the entire time instead of using a little bit of drive from your back foot. All right, so our third exercise is gonna be a hip thrust, but do not make this mistake. I see so many women come over here to do hip thrusts, and then as they come up, they stop a quarter from the top and then immediately go back down. The problem with this is if you are not fully locking out the top of your hip thrust, you're not actually gonna maximally contract your glutes. And that is the sole purpose of hip thrusting. If you are not locking out, you're just doing what's known as lengthened partials. And that's basically what you're already doing when you're doing RDLs and when you're doing squats and when you're doing lunges. You're gonna notice there's gonna be a sweet spot for you between going really heavy but still not compromising your form. If you're going too heavy, you will know this because you will not be able to fully lock out at the top. If you cannot get that contraction at the top, back off the weight by like 5 pounds each side or 10 pounds, and then try again to fully get that lockout. Yes, lifting heavier or having more load is very important, but it is not everything. What matters more is your tension and your form and actually cueing your body correctly. So our next exercise here is gonna be dumbbell RDLs. I like dumbbells better than barbell because I can actually bring them on the outside of my legs like this, and I find that I have a better glute connection this way. Now here's how I like to set up. I like to make sure my feet are shoulder width apart, facing straight forward, and make sure that I have a neutral spine here. From here, just pushing straight back, you're gonna notice that you're gonna feel it more in your hamstrings. So what I like to do is have a greater knee bend here. This is gonna help us bias the glutes a little bit more. And then we're just gonna drive our bum back, pretending we're closing like a car door behind us, and then coming back up. I like to bring the dumbbells right below my knee here. Any deeper, I start to feel my lower back curl, and we want to make sure we keep that neutral back. For me personally, for years, I had lower back pain whenever I did RDLs. It was like after my set, my whole back would lock up. And the reason for that was because I didn't have correct form. I also was exaggerating the wrong part of the movement. So instead of exaggerating the top part of the movement when you're bringing the weights up, exaggerate the bottom part of the movement where you're pausing at the bottom. The stretch position, the RDL, is the place where you're actually going to recruit the most muscle fibers. At the top, you're really just resting and you're exaggerating it here at the top and locking out. All you're doing is hyperextending your back instead of focusing in on keeping that constant tension on your glutes. So the type of kickback we're going to be doing is a glute max kickback, which is your biggest glute muscle. I have one workout where my isolations are more glute max every week, and then one for glute medius and minimus, which are the two smaller glute muscles that make up the side booty. So because this is biasing the glute max, I'm going to notice that I can go a lot heavier instead of on a hip abduction with a cable or a glute medius kickback. So I'm gonna lock in on this machine, bringing my shoulders down and back. What I like to think about is pulling with one hand and pushing away with the other. What that's gonna do is it's going to activate our transverse abdominis and make sure we are bracing. Bracing is so important to make sure that you're doing, especially on your lower body days. It's gonna help you have better form and connect better with your muscles. So here we're gonna drive that knee all the way up, and then we're gonna kick back and up. And I like to hold it in that contraction and then slowly resist the weight on the way up. Again, driving that knee up and then kicking back. And if you're not shaking when you're doing this, you're not going hard enough. Now I'm back home about to eat my post-workout meal because that is the other part of growing your glutes. You gotta eat, but if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe because next week I will be going through my upper body workout to tone and build up muscle definition, my shoulders and my back, and also prevent my risk of injury because that is something we do not want while we are building up muscle and training hard in the gym. So if you want that full breakdown in the video, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it, and I'll be posting that next Sunday, and have the best week ever.